Hello, everybody. We are still waiting for more participants to show up. Welcome to this info session. While we are waiting, maybe I can start some polls for you. So you should be able to see a poll right now to give us an idea of where people are from. So if you could enter that, that would help us. So far, most of the attendees seem to be from the Netherlands. I see a question. Is this meeting for econometrics and operations research? This meeting is for both actuarial science and econometrics. The operations research program is no longer offered at the University of Amsterdam. It used to be econometrics and operations research. Now it's just econometrics and actuarial science. So this is for both actuarial science and econometrics. And for those people who have recently joined us, welcome. We are still waiting for all the participants to show up. Maybe we give them a couple more minutes. In the meantime, there's a poll for you to fill out if you haven't answered the question yet, so please do that. The poll simply asks you where you're from. It will give us an idea of where people are from. Yeah, I see some questions. Will you explain the meaning of actuarial science? Yes, I will. Operations research is no longer available by at the University of Amsterdam. That is correct. Job prospects for econometrics for non-EU students. That's a good question. Maybe we should wait until the end of this meeting to answer this question. That's a good one. There's a question about how heavy the application load is and when we can expect a response. Maybe one of our admissions officers can help answer this. I'm not sure when exactly you can expect a response to your application. Well, it is 2 minutes past 3 now. Maybe we can get started. Once again, welcome everybody to this information session about the bachelor's programs in actuarial science and econometrics at the University of Amsterdam. My name is Umut Can. I am the program director for actuarial science, but I will be talking about both programs. As I have mentioned before, there's a poll open. So if you haven't answered it, please do so now. This is just to give us an idea of where the attendees are coming from. I see that based on the answers so far, most people are actually from the Netherlands and also Europe and Asia mostly. So that's nice. We have a nice distribution. Maybe I can, yeah, most people have answered the poll, so I can end the polling. Yeah, so here are the results. So a little more than half of our attendees are from the Netherlands. The rest mostly from Europe and Asia. Okay. There are, yeah. We have more people here to help answer questions. We have some current students. A member of our student our student group, VSAE, and we also have admissions officers. They will help you help me answer questions. When you have questions, there is a Q&A section. You can go there and just type your answer, and either I or one of the other panelists will answer your questions. And the plan for today is that I will give you a brief presentation, 10-15 minutes, about what the actuarial science and econometrics programs are all about. During my presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the Q&A section, and again, either I or one of my colleagues or one of our students will answer your question. After my presentation, we will hear more from our students. They will tell you a bit about, well, from the students' perspective, what these programs are like. And after that, we will just continue answering questions until there are no questions left. So that's the plan. I see already a few questions that people have asked, but let me start with my presentation, because maybe I will answer your questions already during the presentation, and then after that I will start answering questions. Okay, so actuarial science and econometrics, maybe let's start with a quick overview. So somebody already asked, what is the meaning of actuarial science? Well, both actuarial science and econometrics are disciplines, scientific disciplines that are basically at the intersection of mathematics, statistics, and economics. Actuarial science has more of an emphasis on risk management and risk assessment. So actuarial science is all about applying mathematical and statistical methods to assess risk in insurance, finance, and related fields. Typical kinds of questions an actuary might work on is if an insurance company wants to come up with a new kind of insurance, car insurance, home insurance, whatever it is, they want to determine how much premium should we charge for this insurance to our customers. The actuary will calculate what's a reasonable rate. How much money should the insurance company set aside to cover all the claims for this insurance? The actuary will calculate how much money the insurance company should set aside. So questions like that. That's basically that's just an example of what an actuary would work on in the real world. But whenever there is basically large amounts of investments or money involved, and there is some risk involved, then you can expect an actuarial science person there helping managing risks. Econometrics is a, let's say, broader subject. It's also about applying mathematical and statistical methods, but now the aim is more to understand or predict economic relations and dynamics. So if you want to answer questions like, can we predict somebody's salary based on this person's gender and what school they graduated from, what they studied, where they live, what's their age, and so on. So you have all sorts of information about this person, and based on this information, can you predict this person's salary? What's the relationship between all these variables and the person's salary? That's a typical kind of question that an econometrician might be asked to answer. Okay, so these are basically the fields of actuarial science and econometrics. What are typical work areas for our graduates? Well, financial institutions like banks, insurance companies, pension funds, but also all sorts of consultancies. They hire our students a lot. Various companies within the industry, various government agencies, ministries, and so on. Non-governmental organizations, startups definitely like to work with our graduates. Basically, wherever you need people with good mathematical analytical skills and also programming skills, you can expect to see our graduates working. What can we say about the bachelor's program at the University of Amsterdam? Well, these two programs, Actuarial Science and Econometrics, they have a joint program for the first 2 years. And only in the third year do they specialize. So if you start as a student of Actuarial Science or as a student of Econometrics, it doesn't matter. For the first 2 years, you take exactly the same courses. And only in the third year, you split. Actuarial Science students take Actuarial Science courses and Econometrics students take Econometrics courses. And if you're not sure which of the two programs to pick, you can defer your decision. So you can make your decision sometime in your second year. So you don't so you're allowed to change your mind, even if you start as an econometrics student and later on, if you decide to switch to actuarial science, you can do that within the first 2 years and vice versa, of course. These are both highly quantitative programs, so there will be a lot of math involved and programming and statistics. So they tend to be challenging. So our students tend to find these programs challenging. But of course, they have an excellent payoff, not only in terms of good salary and good jobs, but also intellectually. I think most of our students end up enjoying what they learn. And yeah, during these COVID times, we should also emphasize that we are fully prepared for online teaching if necessary. So for now, the plan is to go back to regular on-campus teaching starting in September. So hopefully things will be a bit more normal by then. But if things don't go as smoothly as expected and we still have to do online teaching, so currently all teaching is online at the university. And if it turns out that we have to continue that way in September as well, we are fully prepared for that. We already have a lot of experience by now setting up courses and exams and everything online. So we are prepared to continue like that if it's necessary. But hopefully we will be back on campus from September onwards. Yeah, so here's an example of where our graduates actually end up working. This is a recent newspaper article from the Dutch newspaper, the Volkskrant, I believe. This is about a new startup called PacMed. And this is a startup that uses big data methods, so statistics and big data to help make hospital administration and healthcare systems more efficient. And actually one or more maybe of our graduates are involved with this startup. So this could be an example of where you end up working, this sort of startups. And here's another example. This is also a newspaper article from the Volkskrant. And this article says that the Dutch railway company, which is called the NS, the Dutch Railways, they have recently started this program to look at their data to figure out how you can make sure that less trains run delays. And if there is a delay, how can you make sure that this delay doesn't affect other trains? So how can we set up the scheduling of trains in such a way, in an optimal way, such that delays occur less frequently, and if they occur, they don't affect the rest of the network. And they turned to some of our graduates were also involved with this initiative, because this is exactly the kind of thing that our graduates are well suited for, because it requires looking at big amounts of data, it requires quantitative skills, it requires programming skills. So this is a natural program or job for our students for our graduates to do. Okay. What about the program of study? As I said, the first 2 years are joint. We call it the quantitative economics program. So both actuarial science and econometrics students, they study what we call quantitative economics for the first year and for the second year. And in the third year, you split into the actuarial science students and econometrics students. In econometrics, after the third year or during the third year in econometrics, you can choose one of 3 tracks. I will tell you more about this in a minute. So within econometrics, you can further specialize. There are 3 tracks. One is the standard econometrics track, one is more focused on data science, and one is the so-called free track. So you choose one of those 3 tracks. Within actuarial science, there are no tracks. There's just one standard actuarial science track. And once you are finished with the bachelor's program, most of our students typically continue to a master's program. And at the University of Amsterdam, we also offer a master's program in actuarial science and mathematical finance, and also a master's program in econometrics. So you can continue on to these master's programs. Of course, you can also go on to another master's program in another university if you wish to do so. So this is what the program of study looks like. Some more details about the first year. This is what the first year looks like. In the first semester, you start with laying the groundwork, basically a lot of mathematics, a lot of probability and statistics, and economics. So you start with Math 1, calculus, microeconomics, macroeconomics. We don't assume any prior knowledge of economics, by the way. So if you don't know anything about economics, that's not a problem. We will teach you everything. You start with probability and statistics. So the semesters at the University of Amsterdam, they are divided into these 3 blocks, and the blocks they are of length 8 weeks, 8 weeks, and 4 weeks, I believe. So 2 long blocks and 1 short block. The block 3 is the shorter one. So in each block you take a different course or different courses. The second semester, also 3 blocks. You continue with the math sequence with linear algebra, and then you also start with programming and numerical analysis. We also don't assume any prior knowledge of programming. You will start learning it here. We work a lot with the programming language R, which is a widely used programming language for statistics. You also learn about finance, and you continue with the probability and statistics sequence. And you also have these introductory courses for econometrics and actuarial science, and also for data science. So that's what the first year looks like. And just like in, I think, all Dutch universities, we have a system of a binding study advice, a VSAE. That means in the first year, you can see that you are taking 10 courses, and each of them has 6 credits. So in total, you take 60 credits of courses in the first year. And you are required to pass at least 48 credits, which means at least 8 of those 10 courses you have to pass in your first year. If you fail 2 or more courses in your first year, you are not allowed to continue with the program. And we ask you to find another program to study. And as I told you, our program is somewhat challenging. So we have a positive binding study advice of about 60 to 70% every year. So that means about 60 to 70% of students who start the program, they are actually able to continue on to the second year. And the rest, 30 to 40%, they fail the first year. They fail to pass at least 8 courses the first year. So they have to find another program to study. So this is something to keep in mind. Year 2 continues on with more specialized courses. The math sequence goes on with linear algebra and multivariate analysis, but you also start to take some courses that are specific to actuarial science, for example, life insurance mathematics in the first semester, and risk theory in the second semester. These are more actuarial science focused. And obviously econometrics 1, econometrics 2, these are more econometrics focused, but you take these courses no matter what your choice is. So all students take these courses together, and they will give you a better idea of what the fields are all about. And you also learn about statistical learning, and there's also an empirical project course where you work with real world empirical data to apply what you have learned. In year 3, as I said before, you start splitting. So you either choose econometrics or actuarial science. And within econometrics, as I said before, there are 3 possible tracks you can choose. The first track is the standard econometrics track. If you go with that, this is what your third year looks like. In the first semester, there is some flexibility here. You can choose to do an internship. You can choose to study abroad in another university. Or you can choose to take electives or do a minor at the University of Amsterdam. But yeah, the electives and minor are restricted in the sense that you can only pick electives or minor or do a minor that are directly related to econometrics. So you cannot do a minor in, I don't know, sociology or something. So it has to be related to econometrics. In the second semester, you take these courses that you see, and you write your bachelor's thesis. So the bachelor's thesis is in the form of a course, and you continue you work on it during blocks 5 and 6, and at the end of your program you submit your thesis and you're done. So this is what the econometrics track looks like. If you choose econometrics but choose the data science track, the third year looks very similar. So in the second semester, the courses are a bit different. So this marketing analytics or text mining course is new. But also in the first semester, the kind of electives or the minors that you can do in the first semester, they are different. If you choose data science, these electives have to be related to data science. But you can still do also a study abroad program or do an internship in your first semester as well. And finally, there's also a free track within econometrics. If you do that, the second semester, I think it's the same as in the econometrics track, but in the first semester, there are no restrictions for your electives. So with this track, if you want to sort of expand your horizons a little bit beyond econometrics, you can choose this track, and in the first semester, you can take electives in whatever field that you might be interested in. Or you can still do a study abroad or an internship. And finally, if you choose for actuarial science in your third year, the first semester still looks more or less similar. You still have the option of studying abroad or doing free electives or whatever minor that you want. There is only one mandatory course here in the first semester, mathematical and empirical finance. We ask you to take this, and on top of this, you can take whatever electives or minors you want to do. In the second semester, the courses are very much actuarial science oriented. So it's all about life insurance, and there's also a research seminar in actuarial science. And of course, whatever track you choose, you have to do a bachelor's thesis to graduate from the program. So this is what the 3 years look like. Well, what can we say about why should I choose UVA? Well, one obvious advantage is that we have a fully English program. If you're a Dutch student and you prefer to take courses in Dutch in the first year, this is possible, but the second and third years are completely in English. And the first year is also, most people take it in English. And we have a very international atmosphere. So our students are, I think more than 50% of our students are international. Our teaching staff are also quite mixed, international. So it has a very stimulating international atmosphere, these programs. We offer, well, we are the only university in the Netherlands that offers a bachelor's program in actuarial science. So if you want to do actuarial science in the Netherlands, we are the only choice. And now we are also offering a combination with data science within the econometrics track, because data science is becoming sort of more and more important in these sorts of applications. So we are offering more and more courses in data science. Again, one nice thing about this program is that the moment of choice comes after 2 joint years. So you can make your decision after 2 years between actuarial science and econometrics. So you keep that flexibility. We have a small and active student union, which is called VSAE. And we have a member of VSAE present here, and he will tell you a bit more about what the VSAE can help you with. But basically, they offer many social activities and career-related activities, and they can help you with study support. And so they provide all sorts of help along the way. But as I said, there's a representative here, Jasper, and he can tell you more about it in a minute. You have excellent career prospects. So in 2015, I think the newspaper Financiële Dagblad, they actually made a ranking of best entry-level jobs in terms of, well, how much you earn in terms of salary amount, but also in terms of job satisfaction and your prospects of going up the ladder and so on. Taking everything into account, they concluded that actually actuary is the best job you can have. So you are at the right place. And for tax advisors, or let's say ICT consultants at number 4, our graduates can also easily do jobs of this sort. Biochemical technologists and dentists, probably our graduates cannot do those things, but the other 3 are exactly in our ballpark, let's say. We have an enthusiastic staff. They will be happy to help you with everything along the way. We provide various forms of study support, writing in English. If you are not very comfortable with that, you can get help with that. But also for your courses, for brushing up on your math skills or programming skills, there are study support. There is study support available, and of course we are located in Amsterdam, and that's also a big advantage. I would say it's a nice city, especially for young people, with a lot of cultural activities. Of course, during non-COVID times, but we are hoping by next September, things will be more or less back to normal, so you can enjoy Amsterdam as usual. Yeah, a couple of practical things. Application deadlines. If you're applying from the Netherlands or from within the European Union, the application deadline is May 1st. But there are some exceptions, so you should see the website. For example, if you want to ask the university for help with housing, I think you are asked to apply earlier than May 1st. So you should check the website for particular exceptions. If you're applying from outside of the EU, the deadline is sooner, which it's April 1st. But again, there might be exceptions, so make sure to check the website to see what applies to your particular situation. There is something called Uva Matching. So if you're admitted to the program, you will be asked to complete a 1-week online course. It's called Uva Matching, and that will help you assess whether the program is a good fit for you or not. So the results of this Uva Matching are not binding. So, well, you will get a grade out of 10, I believe, but this will not be in your transcript, or it will not be anything official. It is just to give you an idea if you're at the right level that we expect from you. So you do this Uva Matching. It's a 1-week course. You take you listen to some lectures, and then you take a test at the end. And if you get a really low score, you can still continue with the program, no problem. But it just gives you an indication that you might have to work a little harder during your first year if your Uva Matching score is low. And if it's high, then that means you're probably at the right level that we expect from our first-year students. There are also opportunities to chat with current students via Instagram or an online chat session via the Uva website. This is so you can see the Instagram account here, and the Uva website. If you check it, you can see how to enter these chat sessions with our students. And I think this is all I wanted to say for my part. And I will now give the floor to our students, and who can tell you a bit more about well, who they are, where they are from, what they study, and what they liked and what they didn't like about our program. The first student who will speak is, I think, Daphne.
Yes, hi.
Yeah, so I will give the floor to you.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Daphne and I am Dutch. So for me, it was a logical choice to choose for the University of Amsterdam. I'm currently in my master's in econometrics with the track in data science and business analytics, which means I am going to write my thesis next month. So that's besides of being very stressful, it's also very challenging. But that means I will probably be finished with studying this summer. which is very exciting. But how did I choose econometrics? Well, when I was finished with high school, I had no idea what I wanted to study. So actually, I chose to do economics and business in the first place. But when I finished my first year, actually the mathematics was calling for me. I really liked economics studies, but yeah, mathematics was something I liked even more. So I decided to start with econometrics, and until now I have no regrets. So if you want to know something about the difference between the two programs, you can also ask me about it. Yeah. For me also, yeah, econometrics, it's a perfect balance between economics and mathematics. So especially when I chose the track of data science, I experienced that it was a perfect setting in the sense that you learn all the theory and you have exams that are very theoretical, but with data science you can really do something with it. So I started in September working at a large company, so I could use all my theoretical knowledge to practice it. And yeah, so I like it so much. I am planning on starting working when I'm finished this summer. So yeah, if you have any more questions about studies or anything personal, you can ask me. That's it, I think. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Daphne.
Short.
That was helpful. We also have a student from the Actuarial Science program, Goran, and he can also tell you a bit about himself and maybe what.
Hello,
why he
my name
chose.
is Goran, and I'm a student from Bulgaria. I'm in my third year of doing actuarial science, and I'll try to explain how I came up with the decision to do actuarial science. So basically, since high school, I wanted to go and study mathematics or statistics, something in that field. But me as an individual, I was afraid that I would have a very hard time choosing what I want to work afterwards. So I wasn't really sure until people started suggesting me to do actuarial science because, well, it narrows down the path. It is you use mathematical and statistical methods in order to assess risk. And when I read more about the profession, I thought, oh, that's exactly what I wanted to do. It has quite a bunch of mathematics and statistics. It's a demanding course. It's interesting in itself, and I thought that it's a good choice. And ever since, I haven't regret choosing it. The atmosphere in the UVA is quite nice. You have a bunch of maths classes. You learn a lot, from calculus to multivariate analysis to topology. It's just a lot to grasp. It's interesting, and the statistical subjects that you have are quite a lot. So when you graduate actuarial science, it's as if you've actually graduated Bachelor between maths and statistics kind of wise. So even if you don't want to work as an actuary after your third year, maybe you've came up to that conclusion, you can actually go into the data science field, advisory, or just to become a statistician. There are students like that. For example, one of my best friends wants to do a PhD in statistics. So this is a possible track for you to choose. And yes, if you are interested in mathematics, you feel that you're good at it, you're maybe better than your peers in high school, and you're not really sure whether you should focus on mathematics after high school, I would say that doing actuarial science is a good choice. I saw that quite some students had some questions, and maybe I can try answering some of them. What can I do before coming to the UVA to make myself better prepared? Well, I would say that you can do probably more maths during your summer break. I don't know what is the level of mathematics in your high school, but I would say the first subject when you come to the UVA, which is calculus, is a bit demanding to some students. It has not a very significant pass rate. So maybe you can focus on integration, differentiation while you're at it. It's not like, it won't hurt just to practice more. I don't know where students intern usually. I still haven't done an internship, so I can't help you with that. Well, for non-EU students, it's very hard to say because, well, you need a working visa. So after you graduate, you need to find a job quite fast. I would say you have, I think, 6 months or a year. I'm not really sure, but well, you can work, of course, in the EU, but you just have to land a job. There are a lot of Chinese students in our course, and well, all of them are facing that problem, but every year more and more non-EU students are coming. So I think that they're solving that problem easily if they keep coming. So I don't think you should worry that much about it. And
before we answer more questions, maybe I should let Jasper also say a few words about the VSAE. Thank you, Goran. And then we will continue answering questions, and then both I and the students can help can answer questions. Jasper, do you want to say a few words about the student union?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Jasper, and I am the current chairman of the study union VSAE. For all of you, like student study association, which is what we are, is quite different from a student association, as the student association usually involves having borrels and drinks and such, which is something that we also do. However, we also are there for like students in preparations for their careers, getting to know each other, maybe support students for study with tutoring and all. So about the VSAE, the VSAE is like the association for all econometric students and actuarial science students. And things that we do, for example, are we organize drinks every month with beer, which a lot of people attend to because it's free beer to a certain extent. So, well, at such events, it's like a very good way for you to meet friends, to just see the people from your study association, will get drunk and have a lot of fun. And that's what we really do. We organize a lot of, well, social events. We had one yesterday in which we made pizza. People got sent beers. There's a lot of beers involved, but because that's just students, you also have to enjoy your student life, except for only studying. That's something we feel is very important. But other events that we also organize are, for example, career events. For many students who are studying, they're like learning a lot of theoretical knowledge, but they're not very clear about where they really want to work, what working is really like. Like Umut already mentioned, there's a lot of different sectors where you can work: banks, finance. As an actuary, you can do pensions, risk, and so on. And that's why we organize like a lot of career events where you can just meet companies, talk to them, and just experience from, well, what is really something people do at a company, which companies are fun, what is the difference between companies, why do you work at the companies. Then the third thing we organize is something like an analytics academy, because your study is very abstract. You learn like a lot of theory, however, you don't really apply it. And that's why we also organize in collaboration with companies some cases where you will just like use all the stuff you learned in real life. For example, you could work for the government and just help them in a project, for example, homeless people, about how you can distribute food and whatsoever. And the last thing is, we support you with your studies. So if there's tutoring you need, or we provide an exam database where you can practice exams in order to get along with your study and just enjoy your life as a student.
Yeah, thank you, Jasper.
Yes.
And now we can start answering questions. I think I see there are quite a few questions, and I will try to answer them. But if if any of our students want to add anything, feel free to do so. Just interrupt me and add to my answer. So what are the job prospects for econometrics for non-EU students? This is a little bit mentioned already by Goran. The job prospects are pretty good, and I don't think there is too much of a difference between Dutch or EU or non-EU students in this respect. Our students are in high demand by all sorts of companies, and they if you have good grades, they will hire you. And yeah, if you're a non-EU student, I don't think I don't remember many students, even non-EU students, finding it difficult to find a job in the Netherlands or in the EU. But I should also say that most of our students don't go for a job directly after the bachelor's. Most of them do a master's program, either in econometrics, actuarial science, or something related. But most students do a master's program and then continue on to the job search. If possible, can we take extra credits in the summer so we can finish the semester faster? I don't think that's possible. Our mandatory courses, they are not offered during the summer, so you really have to take them during the academic year, and in the summer we don't offer an option to take this. But if the students know more about this, feel free to say more. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure that there are no extra courses in summer.
Yeah.
You're of course allowed to practice and prepare, but
right. Yeah, unofficially, of course, yeah, you can study the textbook and all sorts of things, but the course itself is not offered during the summer. Where do students usually intern? That's something I don't know too much about. Do any of our students know more about this?
I do know that like the possibilities of internships are almost endless. There's like a lot of companies or a lot of companies who really want to have students as an intern. I know a friend of mine, she did an intern at the package delivery company. Another friend of mine did it at the railways. So there's like a lot of possibilities because like everywhere there's data. And yeah, as an econometrician, you're good with data, you are good at analyzing it. So like at almost any company, you can get an internship. It's very much up to you. Usually I would recommend to just do a company where you want to learn more about, or a company in which you're interested or like the products they make.
Thank you. Could you please tell more about the honors program, electives, and minor courses? Okay, so electives, okay, the first semester of your third year is typically when you take electives or when you do a minor, because that semester is sort of flexible. There are no mandatory courses to take during that semester. And so within econometrics, as I said, if you go for either the econometrics or the data science track, the kinds of electives you can choose are rather restricted. So yeah, if you go for the econometrics track, then you can do, I think that there's a list of electives you can choose from that are related to econometrics, and the same thing with data science. If you choose the free track in econometrics, or also if you go for actuarial science, that's also a more or less free track, then you can choose electives in whatever subject you want. So it doesn't have to be necessarily directly related to actuarial science or econometrics. You can choose an elective in whatever subject that you want, with basically no restrictions. There are some restrictions in the sense that if you choose a course that is too easy, like intro level easy courses, that those are not allowed, and also courses that overlap with our mandatory courses, those are also not allowed, because that would be a repetition of what you have already taken. But other than those restrictions, if you go for the free track in econometrics, there is no restrictions, so you can do an elective. you can choose electives, and minors are basically, so essentially if you choose your electives in a particular way, then they add up to a minor. So if you do, I don't know, if you do econometrics and you want to do a minor in mathematics or computer science or something like that, then there's a list of courses you have to take, and you take those. Well, most of those you take in your, as I said, in your third year, the first semester of your third year. But some of those courses, if you want to complete the minor, some of those courses will be offered only in the second semester. So you will also have to take some courses in the second semester, either of your second year or your third year, to finish all the courses of the minor. And it might be challenging depending on what minor you're thinking about, but you have that option. The honors program, I don't know too much about. I don't think a lot of our students do that because it's rather demanding. So if you go for the honors program, I think you have to take an extra 30 credits or so. So 5 courses, I think.
Yeah, I signed up for the honors program, however, I never really completed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the honors program just allows you to, or kind of, when you follow the honors program, you have to follow extra courses, which indeed you should add a total of 30 extra credit, which equals 5 extra courses, which you have to follow on top of the econometrics program. But as the econometrics program is already quite demanding, not a lot of people will do indeed the honors program. It's a need for like the elite students.
And do you choose your own courses when you do the honors program, or?
There's one course which you are obliged to do. That's the first one. And after that one, I think you're allowed to choose on your own. However, I'm not completely sure. There might be more mandatory courses.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Do non-EU econometrics students stay in the Netherlands or go back to their home country? I don't have exact statistics, but based on my experience, most non-EU students, they want to stay in the Netherlands or at least in the EU. As I said, most of our students actually continue on to a master's. So they go either to a master's program in the Netherlands or within the EU, or the UK is also popular. A lot of students also go to the US for further studies. Yeah, going back to their home country is, I would say, it is an exception rather than the rule for non-EU students. Do the students do masters right after or start a job right after bachelor's? What is considered more ideal? I don't think there is. I wouldn't say one is more ideal than the other, but I do think most of our students go for a master's. It it gives you more time to decide about your career path. It makes you more employable because the employers, many employers do ask for a master's degree, but some of our students do get a job immediately after completing their bachelor's program, so that's also possible. What percentage of programming, math, and business will be taught in this program? I think I more or less answered this because I've given you the course list for the 3 years. There is a significant amount of math and also statistics and probability in the program. There is also a significant amount of programming. So there are courses that focus on programming, but you also use programming for the other quantitative courses as well. So in a lot of courses, you have these computer assignments that you have to complete using programming. So there is a significant amount of math and programming. Business, yeah. So I don't know what you mean by business, but economics will be, so the microeconomics, macroeconomics, and finance, you will take courses in those fields. But I would say no courses directly focused on business. So this is, the program is more, let's say, tilted toward theory than business. For becoming a data analyst and business analyst, would business analytics program be a more suitable choice than econometrics? Yeah, that's a difficult question to answer. So I think the main difference between econometrics and business analytics program is that econometrics is more focused about the fundamentals and the theory. So a lot of math basically and a lot of statistical theory. Whereas with business analytics, the focus is more on applications, I would say. So for becoming a data analyst or business analyst, which one is a more suitable choice? Yeah, that's difficult to answer. So that I think that I will leave up to you. I don't know if our students want to add anything about this, but yeah. So yeah, I would say the econometrics program is focused more on theory, and the business analytics program more on applications. Does the actuarial science course exempt you from some of the qualification exams in the future? Well, not the bachelor's program. So if you want to be a qualified actuary in the Netherlands, so there is a Royal Society of Actuaries in the Netherlands, and you can be a registered actuary with them, which is not required to get a job, by the way. But if you want to do it, you have to complete our bachelor's program plus our master's program in actuarial science, and plus we have a 1-year postmaster's program as well. The actuarial practical cycle, it's called. So if you complete those, so the master's and the postmaster's program, then basically you qualify for becoming a registered actuary in the Netherlands. So just the bachelor's program by itself does not exempt you from qualification exams. Are the internship opportunities provided by Uva, or does one have to find themselves? Uva does help with finding internship opportunities, but I don't know, Jasper, do you know more about this, the process of finding an internship opportunity?
No, not really. I didn't do an internship myself.
Yeah.
I think you have to kind of look a company or find a company yourself, which
Yeah.
But
yeah. Yeah, so I that's also what I think. So you find the company yourself, but the UVA does give you support and guidance in the process. Does this course qualify for exemptions from the UK professional exams? I don't think so. So yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, we do not grant exception for the IFOs.
Yeah.
No, but I would say that you will be quite well prepared for them if you study with us, because, well, I have friends in the UK and I would say that we do more maths and statistics than them, and at least with the first few IFO exams, because you will have to study on your own as well. I think that you will be quite well prepared if you study in the UVA. So yeah, we have, and there was a question about if they're UK students, and yeah, I mean, they need the IFOs. We have quite a few UK students, but they usually do econometrics. So yes, that's about both questions.
Thank you, Goran. I'm not particularly interested in economics. Is that a problem? The data science part sounds way more interesting. I also like mathematics. I would say that's not a problem. The economics part of the program, well, as you might have seen from the course list, in the first year you get an introduction to micro and macroeconomics, but beyond that we don't really go too much into economics. Indeed, the focus is more on the theory, on mathematics and statistics, and also programming. So I would say the program is still a good match for you, even if you don't like economics too much, and maybe you end up liking economics after you take the courses, who knows. Particular question for Jasper: do those who don't drink have a hard time having fun?
Yeah, well, of course the answer is no. I know a couple of people who don't drink, and I mean, like, drinking is of course totally optional. Especially we do have parties and you can definitely just be sober at parties. I mean, there will be a lot of drunk people around you, because that's just something you will notice, that students and beer is just a combination you see very often together. However, not drinking is totally okay. You can still go to parties, have fun, like don't feel obliged to drink.
Okay, thank you. Another question for our students, I think, do you have a lot of spare time besides studying and learning all the time?
I would say no, not as much as students would like to have, but that depends on your capabilities as a student. Some people tend to study more, some people tend to study less, so that's on you.
I also think in comparison to maybe other studies, econometrics is a bit more demanding, so it forces you to study more than maybe some other friends of yours who study, who study something else. However, I definitely still had time to have fun, to enjoy the weather, to play sports, to go out. So like it does take a lot of time, but usually you're doing something that you're kind of enjoying, or at least that was the case for me. So it's not like, it doesn't feel like a lot of time, and especially you can like schedule and make time for fun things, and you should definitely do that.
Okay, thank you. Is it only this program that does not offer summer courses, or is it a common thing? So at the University of Amsterdam, I don't think we offer too many courses during the summer. There are some courses offered, I know, but typically the mandatory courses for a particular program, they are only offered during the academic year. So so I think it is a common thing, at least at the University of Amsterdam. I don't know how it is with other universities. But yeah, we don't offer too many courses during the summer. Why do 40% drop out the first year? Is it because it is too difficult, or because these people lose motivation and don't like the study anymore? I think both are possible. With some students, they realize that yeah, the level of math required is a bit too much. Or some students just lose the motivation and they think yeah, it's just too much work and I don't feel like doing it, and they just drop out. I don't know if the students want to add anything to this.
Yeah, I personally just think that it's difficult.
Oh yeah, I think that you lose motivation because it's too difficult. Maybe that's the case. You don't just lose motivation out of nowhere. If you struggle, then you lose motivation, then you drop out. So yeah, I would say it's because it's too demanding of a program.
And in my opinion, the people who drop out in the first 2 months or so, most of them. So you'll find out soon enough, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. Are the honors programs 4-year programs? I believe so, but Jasper, can you say more about this?
I think it is only 3. I think it's just together with your bachelor's, and then on your bachelor certificate, it would also say honors student.
Okay.
And you only start at like the end of your first year. So it's
okay.
Like that's kind of the timeline.
Okay, so you spread the extra 5 courses over your second and third years. Basically.
Yeah, you do like, I think you do 1 course in your first years.
Okay, I see. All right. If you do actuarial science, can you work abroad, or is the knowledge of the study only applicable to the Netherlands? You can certainly work abroad. The knowledge is not only applicable to the Netherlands. In fact, our textbooks are well, internationally used textbooks. And as I said, we are very much theory oriented, so you don't learn a lot specific to the Netherlands. You don't learn about the laws and regulations and so on specific to the Netherlands. Those come later in the master's and the postmaster's programs. For the bachelor's programs, all the knowledge is completely applicable worldwide, basically. How many students are there in each of these programs in each year? So in the first year, about 50 students start for actuarial science and about 200 for econometrics. But as we said, around 40% of these students drop out after the first year, so the numbers become smaller for the second and third years. But in the first year, typically around 250 students start, and 200 for econometrics and 50 for actuarial science. Comparing with other programs, will econometrics and actuarial science be one of the most challenging and time-consuming programs? I would say yes. so they are challenging, and yeah, as I said, quantitative programs. So there is a lot of math and programming and statistics involved, and most people tend to find that challenging, but also fun. I don't know of other programs that people also find challenging at Uva, but if you are into quantitative kind of thinking, mathematics, and so on, you should also enjoy the program, I would say. What about passing the first semester and failing the second semester? Does the student end up changing the course? Well, as I said, the semesters don't really matter. You have to collect 48 credits in your first year, which means you have to pass at least 8 courses out of 10. The 10 courses during your first year, you have to pass at least 8 of them, and it doesn't matter if they are in the first semester or the second semester. Could you give a bit more insight information about life insurance mathematics? Well, there's a whole course about this, so it's very hard to summarize it within a minute. Yeah, maybe I will let you read Wikipedia about this. If you just search for life insurance mathematics, you can find a good summaries online. If you find it difficult to concentrate for a long time, is that a problem? Yeah, it might be. So you will have assignments to work on, and they will require mathematics and programming, so careful thinking. So it might be a problem. But if you are worried about exams, we do allow for extra time and other kinds of help for students who have difficulty concentrating during the exams. So you can have some extra time, or you can take the exam in a separate room by yourself for better concentration. So for exams, we provide all sorts of support for people who have difficulty concentrating. Is the science program in UVA significantly different from other data science programs, since it is in the economics department instead of computer science? Yeah, so yes, so the data science program at UVA is actually it's actually a track within the econometrics program. So the focus is more on econometrics rather than the computer or the data science aspects. So if you're more interested in data science aspects than econometrics, yeah, you might want to look into other programs as well that focus more on data science and computers. Could you describe the grading system used in UVA? So you get a grade out of 10 for each course. And well, 5 is not allowed, I think. Anything below 5 is failing, and anything above 5.5 is passing. So 0.5 grades are also possible. That's pretty much it. Is operations research optional? I find that an interesting part of econometrics. So yeah, the econometrics program used to have an operations research track, but we don't offer that anymore. So within the econometrics program, there is no operations research track anymore. There are courses related to operations research, like optimization and so on, but there is no official operations research track. But as I said, there are courses related to operations research, and you can take them as electives in your 3rd year. What is the difference with econometrics at UVA and at VU? Yeah, that is hard to say. I don't know too much about the econometrics program at VU. I don't know if our students have something to add. Yeah.
At the VU, they still have operations research, I think.
Okay.
I think that's the only difference.
Okay. Yeah, there might also be difference in terms of emphasis on theory or applications, but I cannot say too much about this.
I think the UVA is the theory is more in depth in comparison to the theory. So we have more proofs and more understanding of why certain rules hold. And I think the Uva is more fun, but that's just a personal opinion.
Thank you. Do I become a data scientist if I choose data science program? Well, I don't think officially you become a data scientist. I think your diploma would say econometrics with track data science. I don't know if that answers your question. What textbook would you recommend learning calculus from? Yeah, I don't know what textbook is used in our first year for calculus. It would be a good idea to get that textbook and study it. I don't know if you guys remember what's the title of the textbook for calculus in the first year. But,
yeah, it's calculus, what the numbers mean or something. It's written by Stewart.
Yeah, it is from Stewart. It's called Calculus Early Transcendentals.
Yes.
Okay. So that would be the textbook to study. After
Yeah, I don't think
bachelor's,
that which textbook you choose is the most important thing. I mean, math is math and calculus is calculus. So basically, whatever book you can find is going to benefit you. So just do it if you want to.
Yeah, that's certainly true. After a Bachelor of Actuarial Science, can I go back to a Bachelor of Fundamental Mathematics? Of course, there's nothing stopping you. After finishing the Actuarial Science program, if you want to do another bachelor's in fundamental mathematics, you can do that. If you want to do just a minor in mathematics while you do actuarial science, you can also do that. So yes, it's up to you. So are these programs more challenging compared to engineering, mechanical, for instance? I cannot say, to be honest. I'm sure the engineering programs are also challenging, but they're also rather quantitative, and yeah, most people don't find that very easy to learn. But a comparison of which one is more challenging, I think it's a personal question, so I cannot answer it. Is there extra support for elite athletes within this program, or traveling for races and so on? That I'm not sure about. I don't know. Do the students know more about this? Is there support for athletes within this program?
I don't think so. I don't think just UVA in general supports athletes. It's not as in the US where they get scholarships and such that often. We just don't do that.
Yeah. Specific question for Goran. Did you do A-level math?
Well, so in my country, we don't have such a concept as A and B levels maths. I found out when I came here, but I went to a mathematical high school, so I did a higher level of mathematics, I would say. But because we don't have the concept of A levels, I had to take an A-level exam prior to me coming to the Netherlands. So the UVA sent me a timed exam, and I had to do it within 2 hours. So they sent me the exam, I had to solve it and upload it within 2 hours, and I had to have somebody's surveillance in me. So that's how I passed my A levels. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. If you don't have A levels maths, the UVA might ask you to do the same thing as me, or they just won't accept your application if you're not willing to do that.
Thank you.
I hope that helped. Yeah.
Thank you, Goran. Is there a computer science program at UVA that is taught in English? I believe so, but that would not be at the Faculty of Economics and Business, so I'm not very knowledgeable about this. So I would ask you to check the UVA website about this. Do you have to join a society or institute of actuaries while studying actuarial science? No, you don't have to. Do you have to learn a lot of theory during your study, or is it mainly practical assignments? I would say the focus is more on theory. So you do have to learn a lot of mathematics and statistics. So you learn theorems and so on. But we also give plenty of practical assignments where you do programming and so on to actually apply the theory. So yeah, the focus is more on theory. So we want you to know your mathematics and statistics. That's the important thing. But there is also plenty of practical assignments. By A levels, you mean the British GCE exam?
I'm not sure if they're the same. It's just here in the Netherlands. I think A level is the highest where you can study everywhere. I think D is the highest overall, but it's you can't do it everywhere in all schools. So I think A level is the requirement for UVA if you're a Dutch student, and probably if the GCE exam is the highest in the UK, it will probably be the same, I would expect. So I really can't answer your question. I
And
just don't know the name.
Thank you, Goran. And one of our admissions officers are also helping with that question, I think. And since we're already over time, I think this is a good time to stop. If you have any more questions, feel free to send them via our website, the Uva website for econometrics or actuarial science. You can also chat with students to ask more questions to our students via the website or Instagram. And I think I have, let me see if I can. Yep, so these are the deadlines again. And these are our social media outlets. So for more information or questions, you can also go to these outlets to ask questions. Thank you all for attending. I hope this was helpful. And as I said, if you have more questions, feel free to ask them via our website. And we hope to see you in September 2021. Thank you.